writer Elbert Hubbard said, "Art is the beautiful way of doing things. Science is the effective way of doing things. Business is the economic way of doing things. But no endeavor really ever involves just one talent. This is especially true of those who work in the video industry. These craftsmen must be artists, writers, and technicians. And on top of all that, they must also manage budgets, predict costs, and track income and expenses." As we watch a television program or video, we're seeing the finished product. Today, we'll go behind and beyond the camera to see how it all came together. Long before the camera rolls, there are choices and decisions to make that can determine the success of the project. For example, what the purpose of the program and what will be needed to achieve it. Is it a how-to program? If so, will it be broken down into steps? What is needed to show each step?
I usually start out with acrylic paint or watercolor paint. You can put oily materials, paints or oil pastels or whatever, on top of water-based materials, but you can't put water-based materials on top of oil paint or oil-based materials because they won't stick.
Is it a documentary, a history program? What is the best way to make it come alive?
In 1926, an Italian airship flew from Rome to the North Pole. It was the first crossing of the Polar Sea by air, and the dirigible had to be able to find a ship anchored near the polar ice cap in order to take on enough supplies to get home again. One of the strengths of dirigibles is the fact that they can stay aloft for so long.
Or is the purpose of the show to interview people about their opinions or experiences?
Does friction play a part in how the blimp flies?
Yes, it does, because of everything that's attached to the airship generates drag or friction through the air molecules, and that actually slows the airship down as we're flying through the air. One thing that happens to the airship is as we put those night signs on the airship, each side slows the airship down 3 miles an hour.
Some shows, like game shows, may be for entertainment purposes.
As you know, the object behind Test Quest is to pass the exams. There will be 3 challenges.
Wait a minute. You mean this is all about taking tests?
Breeze, didn't the name kind of give it away? Test Quest?
Yeah, but we thought it'd be like out in the wilderness or something.
Hey, I don't go anywhere my cell can't roam.
I am not eating bugs, just so you know.
And sometimes there isn't a single purpose, but several goals, all intertwined and layered. But deciding the why of the program is central to everything that happens after that. During the planning phase, it's also important to think about style and format. This could mean following a traditional and familiar model.
You're dreaming. How you gonna do that?
Well, I'm gonna start by building my own soapbox derby racer and take you on head-to-head.
Don't bet on it. All us guys can outrace you any day.
Ha ha. So anyway, is that a brake assembly? How do you install that?
Yeah, it's a brake assembly. I didn't think you knew much about car parts.
I know more than you think I do.
Yeah, well, get lost. I've got a lot of work to do. The soapbox derby is only 8 weeks away.
Or it might be going for a more innovative and fast-paced style.
A news set is very different in reality than it appears on your television screen. First of all, you might be surprised at how small it is. It's just an area in a very large room. A television studio has to have enough space for all of its technical equipment and operators.
Sometimes the content of the show calls for a straightforward informational approach, using real people, real locations, and real situations.
Native Americans spent a lot of time playing music, dancing, and telling stories, but not just for entertainment. The Delaware say that music is the breath of prayer, and it accompanies ceremonies and dancers. These art forms were often used to teach lessons to the young people. The instruments included drums, panpipes, rattles, flutes, whistles, and bells, and these are still used today.
Or it could be a subject best presented with a humorous touch.
The majority of Antarctica is within the Antarctic Circle, which is at 66.5 degrees south latitude. The only part of Antarctica outside of the circle is the tip of the Antarctic Peninsula. Now, it sits in the turbulent waters of the Southern Ocean.
But just as there can be more than a single purpose to a program, certainly styles can be combined within it to provide interest and color. Throughout the planning phase, there's one thing that affects everything: financial considerations. From beginning to end, the budget determines the scope and process of video production. Now, to many people, when you say video production, they think television. But there's another audience out there. More and more businesses are using video to promote their company, market their products, and train their employees. These types of videos, called industrials, have opened up video production to include more than just commercial television. Today we're going to meet Chris and Jeff Groh of Lake Erie Video, who do a lot of industrials. They've developed a partnership that uses what each other does best. We talked to them about how they got interested in video production and what kind of training they had.
Some of the best training we ever had was when we first had our VHS camcorder when we were kids, and we started making family productions to make people laugh. That was our goal.
I would have to say that when I originally was doing the videos back in high school, and I didn't even intend to get into video production at that point. I had originally gone to Kent, not quite sure of what I wanted to do. At one point I even looked into being an architect, but I think that my skills were more suited to doing video production, and I really enjoyed doing video production.
We watched them at work as Chris told us how they plan out their projects, beginning with working with clients to decide the purpose of the video.
My first task is to really find out what they want to do, because they often don't know exactly what they want to do. Is it a training video? Is it a corporate piece it's intended to increase sales? Is it something for historic purposes? So my job is to narrow that down. Once that's in place, then develop a timeline, develop a cost estimate for the production, and really start planning for the shoots. Initiate the writing, lining up the voiceover talent, determining if there's going to be animation necessary for this project. Once we have a good working outline, then I typically get Jeff involved with the creative side of it. So the client's like, well, how is this going to look? Then I'll get Jeff in with me, telling him, here's our goal for this client, how are we going to accomplish this, and what's going to be the look, the finished look of it.
Communicating their idea to the client is an important step for Chris and Jeff. And besides helping the client see the project, it also provides their own roadmap to making it.
When Chris comes to me with a project and we go out in the field on a shoot, first thing I do is kind of scope out the setup and determine which materials I will need for the production. Plus, I have to look at how much time we have, what we need to get done at any particular site. You know, when you're starting off, you tend to want to do these big, glorious productions and make everything as perfect as possible. But a lot of the times, when you're out on a site, you have time constraints. And the people that you're working with, you know, they want to get things done in a timely manner.
Once Jeff and the crew have shot all the footage needed, it's time to head to post-production. This is where some truly creative and magical things happen. The raw footage is edited and individual shots are put together in order. Even using a single camera, it's possible to make it appear that many were used. And it isn't just the video that gets the magic treatment. A CD player takes the place of a live orchestra. Another CD brings in the narration. A graphic program generates the animation, and a computer controls it all.
Once we have all the raw footage necessary, and we have the voiceover on DVD, and we have whatever animation elements are necessary, then we can go to post. And that's when Jeff really takes over and he starts to come up with a first rough cut. Then we'll look at it, and it's like any other project that has to sort of ferment or bake. You can't just work on a draft or two and then show it to the client. We look at it, we go over it and over it, make sure that first draft back to the client is good. And it's important because they're expecting a high level, and you eventually get to a final product.
A lot of post-production work used to be done in special studios. This technical work was very time-consuming and expensive. But with computers, which are growing increasingly sophisticated, this can be done easily and cheaply. Computer expertise isn't an extra skill in video production. It's an absolute must.
You have to have a strong foundation in computer skills and be able to adapt to the different programs that are readily available.
Talking about computers led us to ask Chris and Jeff what else they thought was important for anyone who wanted to have a career in the video industry.
For someone looking at this as a career, I think initially they're attracted to the art behind the work. But what you really start to understand is that fundamentally the business side has to come first. You have to build a relationship with the client, then you can work on the creative. And the creative is always that dressing that pulls the whole project together.
You have to do different roles at different times. Sometimes you have to be an artist, and sometimes you have to be a mechanic. You have to be able to know how to use the equipment. So the technical aspect has to be taken care of first, and then you can concentrate on the artistic aspect of what you need to get done.
I do quite a bit of writing, so anything that could have improved my writing skills would have been more beneficial for the company. And also from the business side, accounting. Accounting is something to deal with every day. So believe me that anything you do on the math side is going to help your accounting side. It all comes together. There's a quick application for what you're learning in math class is going to benefit you down the road.
So that's how the professionals do it. There are more and more high schools that are teaching production skills, like Green High School in Stark County, Ohio. We talked to Jordan McCarty about the types of projects that they do in class.
I'm in video journalism too, and we do mostly announcements, and we just finished up doing a feature story. We did a talk show, and we've been doing, just little side projects here and there, interviews and stuff like that. We learn how to, do behind the scenes and in front. We learn the talent part of it, reading the news. And then we also learned the camera aspect of it, the different parts of the camera, how to work a camera. And then we learned the, audio board and the graphics and the switcher. So we learned basically a little bit of everything.
Jordan has enjoyed her experiences in class so much, she thinks everyone should sign up.
I think it helps, shy people. You can, become more outgoing. It helps with your speaking, it's a really good experience, and I think everybody should do it at least once in their life.
It's an exciting time in the video industry. Technology has opened the field beyond commercial television. Chris and Jeff at Lake Erie Video are able to do what they love by working with businesses. High school students like Jordan are gaining real-world production experience. This was unimaginable a few short years ago. But as Anatoly Frantz said, to know is nothing, to imagine is everything. Today, in the world of video production, imagination and technology have joined forces to create new opportunities and new career choices.
Funding for this series was provided by the Northeastern Ohio Education Association. NEOEA members include elementary and secondary teachers, university professors, and support professionals working to provide great public schools for every child.